mind calm, body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment benevolent. Dharma friends, sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing, we practice eco-Buddhism The sound of the temple bell booms for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of non-violent global village forever. Here is the after sound of the thunder of silence, light after Dharma rain. Amoga. Varochana Mahamudra. Mani Padme Jvala Pravartaya.
Please stand and join me in chanting of the three refuges. So let us take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, first in Sino-Korean, out of respect to our tradition, the Korean monastic tradition, and then in English. So as we do this practice, just feel your feet connected to the floor beneath you. And facing the altar, place your hands in this gesture we call hapchang, of sincere heart. Left sides and right sides of the body together with palms touching. For the part that is in Korean, just throw your voice in as best you can, and then we will do an English translation. Shi Shi Guimane Shi Wan Sanze Chenam Chaye Sanju I go for refuge to the Buddha.
I go for refuge to the Buddha.
And resolve with all beings.
And resolve with all beings.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment.
And realize the great way.
And realize the great way.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
And resolve with all beings.
And resolve with all beings.
I will penetrate the teachings.
I will penetrate the teachings.
And uncover oceans of wisdom.
And uncover oceans of wisdom.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
And resolve with all beings.
And resolve with all beings.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many,
I will seek peace and happiness for the many,
and transform this world into awakened lands unimpeded.
and transform this world into awakened lands unimpeded.
Please return to your places for another briefer period of meditation. So as we prepare to sit, first check to see that you're sitting stably. If you're able to do a triangular base, that would be helpful, putting equal weight on your knees and your sitting bones. Noting that the back is aligned, and to help that, you can lean forward on your hands. Bring the arms up, palms facing. Turn the palms out. Slowly lower them to straighten the back. And then place the hands in a mudra, left fingers on top of right, with the thumbs intimately touching. Take a nice deep breath. And then focus your eyes. Don't close them completely. Rather, look down the bridge of your nose, wherever your gaze naturally falls, with a nice, soft focus. Feeling the breath in the Tanshan area. This is 2 finger widths below the belly button. Down in the abdominal area. So as we breathe in, we feel the Tanshan area expand. As we breathe out, it contracts. So just harmonizing this movement of the breath with whatever your practice might be. It might be counting. It might be working with a koan or wadu. It might simply be observing. So in this state of joyful ease, we will sit together for 5 more minutes until you hear the sound of the bell. Please join me in some mindful stretching as an end to our meditation practice. Finding the pressure points along the ridge of the skull. Remembering to breathe as we do these exercises. Clasping your hands behind your back. Doing a spinal twist to the left. To the right. Some big circles of the upper body. Take a moment to stretch your legs. And then settle in again to a sitting posture. This entire last week, we have been doing special chanting for world peace in celebration of Lunar New Year. And it's been quite a wonderful practice. Maybe some of those you who were here last week will remember. We chanted Wa Om Song Jong. Wa Om Song Jong, which means may the precepts be practiced everywhere. So we want to continue chanting today. We're going to do something a little bit different. And the reason that we are doing this chanting practice is that if you think of ourselves as a Sangha, anybody who shows up here is part of the Sangha. We are like trees standing in the forest, each of us contributing sort of a different energy. When we do chanting together, we achieve sort of a wonderful harmony in what may even seem discordant, because each of us is contributing our own part. So the chanting that we're going to do this morning is Ma-Um chanting, and that means mind, heart. Ma means mind, heart. So those of us who know this chant will begin. I invite the rest of you just to join in as you pick it up. So yeah, just settle in, place your hands in Hop Chong if you wish. Ma, slower, My mind is peace. Let us contemplate on our mind being peace. Just breathing together. Ma-hum, ma-hum, ma-hum. Ma-hum, ma-hum, ma-hum. Ma-hum, ma-hum, ma-hum. Let us contemplate on our mind being love. Let us contemplate on our mind being happiness. Our mind is peace. Our mind is love. Our mind is happiness. These are the three jewels: Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. And we sit together practicing, as we said in the morning bell chant, wanting nothing. We practice Buddhism together. Taking bow. Please stretch your legs, sit comfortably. Good morning, welcome. It's good to see all of you here. Are any of you here for the very first time? Several of you, well, welcome. Thank you for choosing to come here today. Maybe it was part of a class or maybe you just showed up. A class, all right. Well, thank your instructor for sending you. So my name is Ma'um. I'm one of the priests here at the temple. And today I want to talk a little bit about harmonization practice. We just experienced this together. And in our Zen practice, we say, come and see for yourself, experience it directly. So before we talk, it's nice sometimes to have a little experience of harmonization, being together as a Sangha. So those who were here last week may remember that we had a tall monk in brown robes with us. Does anybody remember that? No, a few of you, yeah. Well, this monk's name is Phapu, Phapvu, and he is with the Thich Nhat Hanh organization. He practices at Deer Park Monastery in California. And he's a good friend of our Sangha, so he comes and stays with us from time to time. And whenever he comes to stay, Hatu and I, and whoever's around, like to join him for tea and just a little Dharma discussion so that we can tap into his wisdom living at the monastery and he can learn from us in our situation. So last week we were having a little tea. And tea actually is a very big thing in their monastery. He's very knowledgeable about all these different kinds of teas. And whenever he travels, he brings his own special little tea set, cups, special tea, makes it in this beautiful way, and we just enjoy it together. So this practice that they have, he says, every monk in the monastery has tea. They do a tea service. Now, for some of the more senior monks, that means they have private quarters, and so they invite you to their private quarters. For those who are more junior, it's more of a communal setting. You share your room with, I don't know how many 5, 6 other people. But in any case, they have this tea service going on. So in our conversation together that day, we asked the question of him. We said, Brother Phapu, this past year, your dear founder, Thich Nhat Hanh, passed away. We have had this similar experience this past year. Our dear founder, Samosunam, passed away. As we look at your organization, Deer Park Monastery, and all the other monasteries across the world that you have, it seems like you're still going very strong, very stable. So to what would you attribute that? And he gave us the most surprising answer. He said, meetings. I didn't expect that one. Meetings is the secret to success. Well, many of us go through life, especially if you are a student or you live in a corporate world and you have meetings all day long. But that does not necessarily result in special bonding or community practice. So what is it about these meetings? And then he reminded me of this conversation between the Buddha and some lay persons. So there was this tribe, I'll try to pronounce this correctly. This was in northern India, the Chavis. And so this group of people living together, this Chavi community. And, they were interested in growing and expanding. And they thought, well, there's this other tribe over there, and they were called the Vajjayas, Vajjis, Vajjis. And so they went to the Buddha and they said, is now a good time for us to invade and take over their lands? And the Buddha's response was, better not do that, because they are not in a state of being vulnerable. They're not in a state of decline. And this is a little snippet of the conversation. A number of Latifis approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, and sat down to one side. The Blessed One said this to them, I will teach you, Latifis, 7 principles of non-decline. Listen and attend closely. I will speak. Yes, Bhante, the Latifis replied. Then the Blessed One said this, and what, Latifis, are the 7 principles of non-decline? Number 1, Latifis, as long as the Vajjayas assemble often and hold frequent assemblies, only growth is to be expected for them, not decline. Number 2, as long as the Vajjayas assemble in harmony, adjourn in harmony, and conduct the affairs of the Vajjayas in harmony, only growth is to be expected for them, not decline. And then it goes on. Some of the principles are more obscure because the culture was different 2,500 years ago. But I find it very interesting that those are the first 2 right off the bat. So it says, again, that assemble often and hold frequent assemblies. Assemble in harmony, adjourn in harmony, and conduct the affairs of the Sangha in harmony. So as we engaged in this conversation of what is it about these meetings and these assemblies, we talked about, we assemble for a lot of different reasons. We assemble here today simply because we want to practice together. And this is a wonderful thing. If you live in the monastic community, you assemble for many reasons, and maybe in your daily life you can reflect on this too. But some of the things we talked about is, community meals. We assemble for meals, and we have certain protocols for that. We recite precepts together upon occasion. We conduct business meetings. And in these business meetings, sometimes things get a little hot. He told us that they were having a conversation about buying a new washing machine. And people had lots of different opinions about this. You know how that goes. You can kind of relate. Monks are taught to stand down. And what that means is when they feel too attached to their own opinion, they just stand aside and let the group come to a harmonious decision. So monasteries are organized around consensus style of decision making. And our Zen community is that way too, a little bit. So we have a hierarchy here. But a lot of times when new people come, say, just tell me what to do. Tell me what the rules are. I want to follow the rules. But it's more organic than that. We have this consensus kind of model that we like to follow. So one procedure that they use when they are having really important meetings, and an example of this is taking precepts together or ordaining someone, they have something called the Sangha Karman procedure. And let me give you an example of that. Okay, so they have someone, they appoint someone as a Sangha Karman master and someone as the Sangha convener. So the Sangha Karman master says, has the entire community assembled? The Sangha convener says, the entire community has assembled. Sangha Karman master, is there harmony in the community? Sangha convener, yes, there is harmony. Sangha master, is there anyone not able to be present who has asked to be representative, and have they declared themselves and have they done their best to study and practice the mindfulness training? Convener, no, there is not. So if for any reason somebody responds to that question, no, is there harmony in the community? And the answer is no. Then they do not proceed. And so what they do is they stop and they say, we're going to take care of this conflict in the community, this dispute, before we go on. I can think of an example of a meeting that we had recently where there was some conflict present, and we did not ask that question first, is there harmony? And we did not state the purpose of the meeting. And so it just kind of went off the rails, and it was a waste of everybody's time. So getting back to this question of harmony is very important. And as I look at what we do here in the Sangha, the types of meetings we do a number of things right. Yesterday, we had a couple of business types of meetings. One of them was a maintenance committee, and the other is our advisory committee. And in every case, every meeting here that we have begins with the 3 refuges, just like we did here this morning, the 3 refuges. I go to the Buddha as my refuge. I go to the Dharma as my refuge. I go to the Sangha as my refuge. That connects us back in a spirit of harmony. And then we also state the purpose of the meeting. When we had the maintenance committee, we focused on why is it that we're gathering here to have this meeting. It's the first time the committee had ever met. So we had kind of an extensive discussion about purpose. The advisory council has been meeting for some time, and we always read a stated purpose that we developed many years ago, connecting us back to what is going on. We always have a check-in at our meetings. And so the check-in usually is centered around some question like, what's going on? What's going well in your Dharma life these days? Something like this. So that then we again feel like we're coming together as a community. There are some harmonization practices, some meeting practices that we let slip during the pandemic, and I hope that we can bring them back. So one of them is every quarter we have a Sangha Day, and the Sangha Day is a gathering. Usually it's a Saturday evening. We have advisory council meeting first. People can attend if they want. Most people don't because it's a little dry. Yeah. But then after that advisory council meeting, we practice together, do a little chanting. For example, we could have done chanting for world peace if we had had our Sangha Day. Instead, we did it here in this service. So we do a little chanting, and then we share a potluck dinner. And then we have fun together. We play games and things. Did you ever play that game that I'm going on a trip and we just pick a destination? I'm going on a trip to India. And in my backpack, I'm going to include a toothbrush. And then we go around the room and every person adds something and you have to say all of them. So if you have 20 people there, you have to remember the 20 things that are in your backpack that you're taking to India. So it's just kind of a fun time together as a good meeting and harmonization practice. So the other practice that we have not done here for a long time is being done in the Chicago temple once a month. They devote a service to a recitation, a special recitation of the precepts. And so I think we're going to try to bring that practice back. And in a few minutes, at the end of the service, we'll do a bit of that together. But before we do that, I am just curious, based on the examples that I have mentioned, if you think about your life, your family life, your work life, your school life, what are some meeting and harmonization practices that you do that helps sort of keep things in balance for you? So we'll pass around the microphone.
So I don't know if this is on. It's working. It's not working? I don't know. Okay, I'll just speak loud. So I realized I really liked the idea of not proceeding unless you know you are in harmony. And if you're not in harmony, admitting that and addressing it in the moment, because I have seen both in my partnership and I'm a teacher, and so in my classroom, if there is disharmony, you really can't continue meaningfully without addressing that. And in addressing it, the people involved feel seen and heard and can let go of whatever is causing the dissonance, and then you can move forward more productively. So I have found that to work.
Well, congratulations on having such harmonious relationships that you couldn't come over in circles. Anyways, so maybe you can think about it later. So I would like to then close with a little bit of a snippet of how we could go about reciting precepts together. Again, we'll call upon the Thich Nhat Hanh organization today. And their spin on the precepts, their lay precepts, are mindfulness trainings is how they have framed them. And so we'll do the first 5 together. And as we do these, I ask that you sit a little formally, maybe placing your hands palm to palm in Hapchang. The first mindfulness training, openness. Aware of the suffering created by fanaticism and intolerance, we are determined not to be idolatrous we are determined not to be idolatrous about or bound to any doctrine, theory, ideology, even Buddhist ones. Buddhist teachings are guiding means to help us look deeply and to develop our understanding and compassion. They are not doctrines to fight, kill, or die for. This is the first mindfulness training. Will you observe this during the coming week? And you can respond silently, yes, if you agree. The second mindfulness training, non-attachment to views. Aware of the suffering created by attachment to views and wrong perceptions, we are determined to avoid being narrow-minded and bound to present views. We shall learn and practice non-attachment from views in order to be open to others' insights and experiences. We are aware that the knowledge we presently possess is not changeless absolute truth. Truth is found in life, and we will observe life within and around us in every moment, ready to learn throughout our lives. This is the second mindfulness training. Will you practice this in the coming week? The third mindfulness training, freedom of thought. Aware of the suffering brought about when we impose our views on others, we are committed not to force others, even our children, by any means whatsoever, such as authority, threat, money, propaganda, or indoctrination. We agree not to force them to adopt our views. We will respect the right of others to be different and to choose what to believe and how to decide. We will, however, help others renounce fanaticism and narrowness through compassionate dialogue. This is the third mindfulness training. Will you practice this in the coming week? The fourth mindfulness training, awareness of suffering. Aware that looking deeply at the nature of suffering can help us develop compassion and find ways out of suffering. We are determined not to avoid or close our eyes before suffering. We are committed to finding ways, including personal contact, images, and sounds, to be with those who suffer, so we can understand their situation deeply and help them transform their suffering into compassion, peace, and joy. This is the fourth mindfulness training. Will you practice this in the coming